All right, today we're going to dive into a concept that is totally changing the game for industry, the digital twin. I want you to imagine a factory that doesn't just run, but actually thinks, predicts, and gets smarter all on its own. So, let's see how this whole thing works.
So before we can really get into digital twins, we've got to talk about data. Because at its heart, this entire technology is about taking that massive flood of information coming out of our factories and turning it into pure, actionable intelligence.
You know, for the longest time, the Internet of Things has been great for helping us just monitor stuff. We can check if a machine is on or where a truck is on a map. And look, that's useful, for sure. But it's really just scratching the surface. The real magic, the real breakthrough, happens when we stop just monitoring and start predicting. Instead of asking, what's happening right now, we can start asking, hey, when is this part going to fail? Or even better, how can I stop it from failing in the first place? And that shift from being reactive to proactive, that's the real game changer here.
Okay, so how do we actually make that incredible leap from just watching to predicting the future? Well, the answer lies in creating a virtual replica of the physical thing. Let's break down what a digital twin really is.
So, at its core, a digital twin is exactly what it sounds like, a digital representation of a physical object. But here's the key. This isn't just some static 3D model you look at. Nope. Think of it as a living, breathing digital copy that understands everything about the real object. Its data, its current condition, and even how it behaves and interacts with the world around it.
Now, for this to really work, a few things are absolutely essential. And I want you to notice that term, bidirectional data flow. This is so crucial. It means data doesn't just flow one way, from the physical machine to the digital model. The twin can actually send insights and commands back to the machine. It creates this amazing real-time feedback loop. It's like they're having a constant conversation.
And this right here, this is where the real magic happens. By taking all that historical data, every single cycle, every vibration, every little temperature change, and mashing it up with what's happening in real time. The twin can run all kinds of simulations to predict what's going to happen next. It's basically like having a crystal ball for your machinery, letting you see problems and fix them before they even exist.
Okay, so where can we actually use this stuff? Well, it pretty much breaks down into three big areas. First, you've got the design twin. Think of it as a virtual sandbox where you can test and tweak new products endlessly without ever having to build a physical prototype. Then there's the process twin, where you can model your entire factory floor to find bottlenecks and make everything run smoother. And finally, the service twin, which keeps an eye on your products out in the real world so you can fix them before they break and keep your customers happy.
All right, theory is great and all, but what does this look like in the real world? Where's the proof? Let's check out this fascinating story from AB InBev that shows just how powerful a process twin can be, especially when it comes to making the perfect beer.
So here was the challenge they were up against. In brewing, filtration is everything. It's key to quality. But figuring out the exact right moment to change a filter was, well, it was more art than science. Even their most experienced brewmasters were only getting it right about 60% of the time. That meant they were wrong nearly half the time, either throwing away perfectly good filters or, even worse, risking spoiled beer. It was a huge source of waste.
So, what happened when they built a digital twin of their filtration process? The results were, well, they were pretty staggering. First up, potential savings of around $10 million. And get this, that's per factory. Just a truly mind-boggling amount of money.
And then there's the accuracy. Remember how those expert brewmasters were hitting about 60%? Well, the digital twin, by crunching thousands of data points on pressure, flow, and temperature, could predict the filter's performance with 90% accuracy. That is a massive, massive leap in precision.
And the final result? A new, fine-tuned process that hit 92% precision. What does that mean in the real world? Less waste, higher quality beer, and a way more efficient supply chain. It's just a perfect snapshot of what happens when you let data do the driving.
Okay, so this is obviously some seriously powerful tech. And you're probably thinking, all right, how do you actually build one of these things? Let's pull back the curtain and see how it goes from just an idea to a full-blown reality.
You know, it might sound like something out of a sci-fi movie, but a digital twin is actually built on a foundation of technologies that we already know and use. I like to think of it like baking a cake. IoT sensors? Those are your raw ingredients, the flour, the sugar, the eggs. Big data platforms? That's your pantry, where you store everything. The cloud provides all the computing power. That's your oven. And the machine learning algorithms? That's the chef, who knows exactly how to combine everything to make something amazing. It's how they all work together that creates the magic.
And the cool thing is, the journey to get there isn't some big mystery. It's a pretty clear 5-step path. It all starts with a workshop, just to figure out what you want to achieve. Then you build a small proof of concept to test the idea without a huge risk. Once that's looking good, you move into full development and deployment. And the final stage, transformation. That's where you really start to see the results and can build on that success to keep innovating. It's a really smart way to turn a big idea into real-world value.
So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with a question to chew on. What is the most critical twin you could build in your business? Whether it's a single vital machine, an entire production line, or a product you sell to your customers. Just think about the problems you could solve if you had the power to see into its future. The possibilities are pretty incredible. Thanks for joining us.